Good morning everyone and welcome back to the vlog. Today we're going to be making a simple broth. Now the broth is very useful because it gives you three things. We're going to get the broth from the chicken, we're going to get the shredded chicken bits from the chicken, and then we're going to get the chicken oil, which is great for seasoning and cooking other dishes that you want that chicken flavor in. So let's get straight into it. It's going to be a 24 to 36 hour broth. So it's going to be pretty long in terms of time, but it's relatively very easy to make and very useful. I'll show you what to do with the shredded chicken after you do make it into a broth. We use it with the Wok2go sauces because it makes it super fast, super fun, and super flavorful. So in the pot, some water. Don't warm it up yet. You do want some coldish or room temperature water to put the chicken in so that it can extract all the things that need to be cleaned. So normally when the chickens are too big, I'm going to start with 2 stock pots and merge into one. But today the chickens are kind of small, so that we're just using 1 stock pot to do both chickens. Now what's going to happen here is the room temperature water is going to be able to extract all the gunk from the chicken. So you're going to be skimming the first hour or so. You do want to leave this on a boil, but you do want to leave it on a slow boil. So flame on super low. So what's going to happen, the slow boil will cook the chicken nice and tender so that we can remove it and shred it and then put the bones back and put some aromatics in the stock so that it will flavor everything. Again, this is super fast, super fun and easy. The stock you can use for some bases like soups, or you can drink it just in a cup, which is what we do. It's roughly been about 40 minutes already and you can see some scum developing on the surface. So we're going to do a quick cleaning of that. You're going to need something to skim the scum off. I have this spoon and literally just scoop it out. So the more you clear the scum off your broth, the clearer your broth will actually be. So you actually want to spend some time to make sure that you get all this. Also, so when we're harvesting the chicken oil later from the skin, it won't be dirty. We're gonna leave this again and come back again to clean it in a bit. This is almost ready. We're now gonna take a bowl, take the chickens out, let them cool down for a bit, and then shred them. We're gonna be putting the bones back in the pot so that we can boil them down even further. So right now, I let the chicken cool down just a bit so I can use my hands. We are going to be putting the bones, the cartilage, the skin back into the stock pot. And for the rest of the chicken, we are going to be putting this into the container so that we can just reheat it when we want to have some boiled chicken. This is actually very versatile because you're able to use it in many different recipes. Okay, so try not to get confused like me and throwing the chicken bits into the stock pot pile. Definitely that's gonna go into the stock pot. The neck, so we're gonna break this down real quick because it's still pretty hot. There is our shredded chicken. You want to let this cool down before putting it in the fridge. And then now we're gonna move the bones back into the stock pot. I tried to clean the stock pot again, that's why the soup looks clear. We're gonna be dumping all this back. And we're gonna throw our aromatics. This will help flavor everything. So normally some people will add the aromatics later on, but I find it doesn't make a huge difference. I do bigger cuts so that it doesn't really break down over time, but during the whole boiling time of 24 to 36 hours, you will see it turn into mush. So right now we're just gonna leave this on a low simmer and come back later. Hopefully the chicken has enough oil that it's gonna start surfacing so that we can skim that and save it also. I moved the pot to a smaller burner. Now we're going to be adding some apple cider vinegar. This will help us in extracting the nutrients out of the marrow. So normally I will wing this because I like the flavor of apple cider, so I'm just going to add what I think is maybe 1.5 tablespoons. And again, that will help, but later on I will be adding some salt and pepper to adjust the flavor as well. But for now we're just gonna let this boil through and check on it from time to time. We might be adding some water later on so that we're sure that overnight the stock doesn't reduce and dry out completely, because that will ruin everything. So right now, leave it be, do your business, and come back for it again later. Because I don't have any chicken fat, I'm going to use some beef fat that I saved from my last stock. The chicken's actually cooked already, so you don't need to heat it so much. Adding some quinoa. And then adding some Wok2go sauce. This is just in a different bottle because I get the big plastic bags. This is our binagoongan sauce, and I'm gonna use it sparingly because it's a little salty. And there you have it. Now you can obviously add some vegetables to this, but today I'm just gonna have it quinoa, chicken, and binagoongan sauce. So before I turn in tonight, I'm going to add some water so that this broth doesn't dry out. Yesterday we had to drive down, so I didn't get to finish the broth, so I left it on the stove and added water yesterday so that it wouldn't burn down. Today is about 48 hours already since we started the broth, and I'm actually gonna start to sieve it and then season it and then transfer it to the bottles. The bottles that we're using are now in the freezer so that the broth can cool down super fast, super quick, so that it can keep it stable. So first off, we're gonna take the chunks out by just dumping the strainer partially in and pulling it out. So what's gonna happen is we're going to squeeze the juice out of the rest of the veg just by slowly packing it down. So you're gonna see that the bones are gonna begin to just disintegrate and really release all their juices. Our dogs love eating this concoction. It's super tender, super flavorful for them still. These are what the chunks look like. After sifting everything, we're now going to season the broth. Seasoning the broth is definitely up to your flavor preference, whether you like the broth to be a little salty, very salty, or just moderately salty. So I have not seasoned this because I did want to wait till we removed all the ingredients so that we can really just flavor the broth according to how we like it. I like to season it now so that when we take the broth out of the fridge and heat it up and pour it into a cup, we can just drink it like it's tea. Pepper. Some Himalayan pink salt. Give it a good whiz. Almost there. Just a little more salt. I decided to reduce the broth some more, and look, an oil film developed. So we're gonna skim the oil because the oil we can use, this isn't a lot of oil normally, it's really the whole surface, but for some reason the chicken that we got had very little fat or very little oil to give, so that's it. So these are nice and cold, as you can see, it's come from the freezer. And we're going to leave this for Joey when she wakes up. We're going to put the chicken oil also in the fridge. It's not a lot, but it's still very flavorful. After you've made your broth, you can use it anytime. You can reheat it and put it in soups and stocks, or you can drink it like this, that we're having it in a teacup. Now, I moved the bottles from the freezer to the fridge already, just to make sure that we cool it down fast enough so that it doesn't spoil. Beyond that, I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. I'll see you guys again in the next video. Bye!